What's going on, guys? You're not going to see too much movement here. When there's no news, you're not going to see too much movement. Maybe, hopefully. See this gap here? We have to mitigate that for sure. We need a BOS from here. If we don't break structure, we're going to create a new lower low here. See that wave downward? Mitigation, lower low. Now, if we do break structure, we'll probably hit this zone. If not, come back here. Markets will be bearish. Do I see that happening? Not really. Usually, when you see breaks of structure, there has to be some sort of catalyst. It just doesn't happen randomly. Especially if it's, like, let's say a break of external structure, like the 4-hour. Very rare that it just happens. But I believe that this week was very bearish for Dixie, bullish for markets. Tomorrow or next week will be very bullish for Dixie, because it looks like it's already going to take place. We need to come back until this. Bearish for markets. We'll get that pullback next week. Again, no pullback here. I can't safely tell anybody that I would get into these buys here, because it just doesn't make any sense, right? External buying zones here. But I can tell you where price will come back to for sure. And that's where we're going to look for additional buys. Price will come back here. Price will come back here. So this is where we will look for additional buy areas. Buy zones. All right. See this right here. Even if we did have a large pullback here, the larger the pullback, the larger the extension. Usually abnormal volume, this abnormal volume will be corrected. This right here is a healthy pullback, healthy and super normal. You know, that's like what I want to see. Healthy swing action, price action. This is super healthy. This is like a 1 in 13, 1 in 14 that you're looking at. So we just have to wait, and that's kind of the weird, I would say, honestly, heartbreaking part about this last week is constant waiting games. That's been kind of the unfortunate thing. Yeah, you're gonna get that pullback here, hopefully today. Lesser volume, everything's overly extended to the upside here. NOS is, US 30 is, Russell is, it's kind of looking the same way. ES, NQ, same thing. Looking for those extensions and those pullbacks there. Volatility is going low, but it's looking to increase here soon. When volatility starts to rise again with SPX, it's usually bearish for SPX. Whereas with gold volatility, the opposite is true. When gold volatility heads downward, usually gold prices head downward. Wow. Clearly this thing broke structure. Oil is in need of a pullback. Even if the price of oil is here, it's in need of a massive pullback. Getting it back to 97 bucks a barrel still means it's expensive. It still means that inflation is rapid. It still means that we are not going to have rate cuts. Like, this is, even though, yes, the Iran war could be potentially over, we still have no rate cuts this year. That's very bearish. That's not bullish. I think market prices are overly bought right now. We're forgetting that no more rate cuts. Only way the Fed would have to make the market move higher is by money printing. Let's see the latest update here on X2 to see if there's anything happening. This is interesting.
Now live, it's showing a pretty bleak scene across the Strait of Hormuz, where so much of the world's fuel and oil passes, very little activity, certainly no tankers passing through that strait.
War in Iran goes sideways, it's Jared Kushner's fault. If this war in Ukraine explodes, it's Jared Kushner's fault. If things don't work out in Israel, it's Jared Kushner's fault. It was never Donald Trump, it was Jared Kushner. And so that's what Donald Trump is doing this term. He is letting his enemies get on stage and make complete jackasses of themselves, right? So, but you're like, wait, Jared Kushner is Trump's son-in-law. They're not enemies. Yes, they are. If you know Donald Trump's personality, he values one thing and one thing only: loyalty. Jared Kushner is not loyal to Donald Trump, and we know because after January 6th, when everyone was distancing himself or herself from Donald Trump, Jared Kushner and Ivanka disappeared. Okay, just go back to that time when Trump's cabinet was quitting on him, when the Republicans were calling for his impeachment. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, who made a lot of money in Trump's first term, they disappeared because they didn't want to lose their friends. They didn't want to be associated with the dumpster fire that was Donald Trump. Do you think that Donald Trump might have a grudge against Jared Kushner?
That would make sense to me.
I would think so. And do you think Donald Trump is a guy to like just go? Do you think that he's like, well, yeah, he betrayed me, but at the same time, he's still my son-in-law, and he's the father of my grandchildren, and he's a husband to my favorite daughter, Ivanka. No, he's like, screw this guy. First of all, he stole my daughter from me. Second of all, he made her convert to Judaism. What is that crap? And third of all, when I needed him the most, he went.
This is interesting. Gold is doing like literally nothing. Hasn't even broken out of the Asian range today. Yeah, there's just a lot of low volatility, guys. I mean, even scalping this too isn't really worth it. I mean, it's worth what? Like the 100 pips maybe in between. You could maybe with the VWAP between the cloud buy and sell this here. To be honest, I think price is going to run down here, swipe liquidity, and then move to the upside. But look at this, like, look at this, like, it's not, there's just no volume. There's no volume here. We're at 30% of the average daily range, which means that we'll usually be bullish here. I mean, usually there's some volume that's on its way, but we have broken some structure, maybe. I mean, you could say that. Safest thing is looking for buys here. I mean, worst case scenario, you might see a buy coming like right here. Internal buys. You want to be patient. Worst case, it comes up to, let's say, this zone here breaks. If it breaks the Asian range, you're going to look for buys. Okay? Breaks the Asian range, pulls back. That's when you look for buys. Right now, just where we're at, not going to, like, this right here is where you lose money. So I'm not even going to call out any trades here. Only thing I'm going to call out is where I'm looking at the buying area. Long term, that's what I'm calling out right now. And if it moves here, that might be another potential buy area. This movement alone, though. Very little movement in markets today. Let's look at USD CAD. daily zones. USD CAD is Dixie, it's selling off. One point bullish, pullback bearish, right? Not really seeing anything either here. This is what I would say with CAD. Any sell-off, it needs to sell off first, but after it does, then I would look for potential sells here. It needs to sell off first though. Then it'll come back and mitigate. Make sense? Above the Asian range highs. This is kind of what I'm looking at. Let me see this. This is what I'm looking at. Yeah, markets are retracing here. Like even GU hasn't broken out of its range here. It's stuck here in its range. Oh, actually, maybe a little quick sell off here. GU looks like a sell today. If it has enough volume to go to that side. This is what I'm looking at with GU. Bitcoin still is that long-term sell here. Bitcoin did break though. It did break, like we talked about, that swipe liquidity externally, 4 hour. Did have that break here. Mitigated this zone here. We probably are going to come mitigate this zone here, which is the 79 most likely. From that 79, then you're going to see a massive dump here. May, remember, is the worst period of markets. May is bearish. May is very, very bearish. April is usually bullish. May is bearish. So get ready for that sell-off here.
Rely on the energy coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, but Asia does, and Europe does, and large parts of the rest of the world do. And so their ability to muster a collective defense or a clearing of the straits would be a wonderful thing. And we hear and see the talk about it, but when the shots were fired and those countries were needed the most, they weren't there. They weren't in the strait, they weren't alongside us, their leaders weren't rallying what they have of their navies. If they decide after CENTCOM does the heavy lifting, which again, they should be able to do. We should live in a world where other countries can defend waterways, not just the United States Navy. Should that conclude, which we believe it will, then we would welcome other countries coming in after the fact. But you can't live in a world in perpetuity, and this is a message to the rest of the world and our allies, where you just rely on America to continually do the heavy lifting. Oh, Iran might get a nuclear bomb. Who's going to do something about it? America. We don't rely on the energy coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, but Asia does, and Europe does, and large parts of the rest of the world do. And so their ability to muster a collective defense or a clearing of the straits would be a wonderful thing. And we hear and see the talk about it, but when shots were fired and those countries were needed the most, they weren't there. They weren't in the strait, they weren't alongside us, their leaders weren't rallying what they have of their navies. If they decide after CENTCOM does the heavy lifting, which again, they should be able to do. We should live in a world where other countries can defend waterways, not just the United States Navy. Should that conclude, which we believe it will, then we would welcome other countries coming in after the fact. But you can't live in a world in perpetuity, And this is a message to the rest of the world and our
Huh. Yeah, nothing. I'm not seeing anything that any news about the war here. It's gonna be a very decently slow day here. I do see this selling off from this swipe of liquidity here. Let's look at gold. There we go. That sell-off is coming now, you see? Perfect. Let's wait till here, then wait for an execution. Also, SPX right here. There we go. That sell-off is coming right now. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Let's wait till here before an execution, guys. All right, guys. I am going to run, but look at those zones. Wait for 10 a.m. timing, and you'll see some sort of reversal here at 10:30 a.m., 11 a.m. Other than that, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.